My wife stood at the mirror in that tight crimson dress, smudging her lipstick just to redo it again, like she was getting ready for the damn Oscars. I stepped out of the hallway, towel around my waist, hair still dripping from the shower, and asked, "Big night?" She didn't even turn, just smiled at her own reflection like it was her biggest fan and said, "Honey, don't wait up tonight. I promised my lover a wild night." Her words hit me like a sucker punch. I blinked, thought maybe I'd misheard her. But then she turned, winked, and added, "You'll manage." That was it. No shame, no hesitation, no explanation. Then came the knock. 3 slow thuds on the front door. I stared at her, thinking this can't be real. I hadn't even processed the absurdity of her little confession, and now there was someone at the door. Like this entire twisted theater production had a script, and I was the last idiot to get his lines. I opened it, and there he stood, tall, athletic, beard like he spent an hour grooming it. He wore that smugness only guys who think they're untouchable can pull off. He didn't speak. He just raised his eyebrows like I was the doorman to his date. I didn't move. My knuckles whitened around the edge of the door. I looked back at her, Courtney, my wife of 7 years, mother of my daughter, the woman I once thought was the best thing that ever happened to me. She just smirked, tossed her hair, grabbed her purse, and walked right past me like I was invisible. I muttered, "If you walk out now, you'll regret it forever." Courtney paused for half a breath, glanced over her shoulder, and said, "You always were dramatic." Then she got into that loser's black Charger and sped off like she was in some music video. Something in me cracked. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, then walked inside in silence. But my mind wasn't silent. My chest was thumping with a rage I hadn't felt since my father's funeral, when everyone pretended to care, but no one really gave a damn. I grabbed a trash bag. First thing I did, tore every single piece of her clothing from the closet, dresses, heels, that ridiculous cheetah print robe she wore on Sunday mornings. Set it all in the backyard. Poured lighter fluid. Watched it burn like her lies. Then I sat down at my desk, logged into our joint bank account, transferred every last cent into a new account under my name, left $1.01 just to piss her off. Next, I printed an eviction notice and taped it to the front door, legally binding, thanks to the lease being solely under my name, which she had begged me to sign alone for convenience. The final touch? I packed a duffel, grabbed my passport, and walked out the damn door, leaving behind ashes, echoes, and silence. She thought she could humiliate me in my own home. Thought I'd crawl into bed, cry into my pillow, maybe send her a text asking why. She had no clue who she married. I'm not the guy who begs. I'm the guy who ends chapters and writes new ones with fire. And as I walked through the terminal toward a one-way ticket to Miami, I texted her only once. "Enjoy your wild night. You'll find the key doesn't work anymore." She didn't reply, but that was just the beginning. The real chaos started the next day, when her world began to crash, and mine, oh mine, just began to rise from the ashes. I landed in Miami just after sunrise. The ocean was glowing gold, the air sticky and thick with salt and sweat. I wasn't here to relax. This wasn't some midlife escape to sip overpriced mojitos and forget. This was my battlefield now, my new beginning. But as the plane touched down and I shut off airplane mode, the first messages rolled in. Not from Courtney. From Jake, my best friend since middle school. "Bro, you good? Just saw Courtney's story. You need to call me." I opened Instagram. I hadn't even unfollowed her yet. Hadn't decided if I wanted to see what she'd become. But there it was. The first post. Her in that same red dress, laughing, dancing on a rooftop bar with the guy from last night. Tyler, apparently. Tagging him with hearts and a caption that read, "When you finally choose you red heart #free at last #new chapter." New chapter? Oh, I was writing mine too, sweetheart. But mine had plot twists you wouldn't see coming. I called Jake. "What's the story?" He sighed. "Man, I didn't want to be the one to tell you, but Courtney's been at this for months. Maybe longer. You remember when she said she was going on that yoga retreat in Palm Springs with her sister? Yeah. She was in Vegas. With him. I stopped walking. Jake went on. And that trip to Napa with her coworker? Tyler again. She didn't even try to cover her tracks much, just assumed you'd never look." The more he spoke, the more pieces started falling into place. All the late nights. The dead phone batteries. The girls' nights that ended with her sneaking in at 2 a.m. smelling like cologne that didn't belong to me. I was blind. Or maybe just hopeful. Courtney used to be someone I trusted with my life. We'd been through everything. College loans, losing her dad, raising our daughter Sophie, who was now just 6 and full of questions. And now she was flaunting some new guy like I never existed. But what really got me was this. Jake said he saw them at my gym. Not just together. Arms around each other, her sitting in his lap in the lounge area, laughing like they owned the place. She didn't just cheat. She made a damn routine out of it. She had dates scheduled like business meetings, lies organized by day of the week. And I'd been home, making dinner, folding her laundry, thinking I was the lucky one. But no, I was the joke. The placeholder. The background character in her twisted little romantic comedy. And the worst part? She'd been slowly rewriting our shared life behind my back. I checked the smart home app and saw she'd disabled my admin access. Checked the security cameras, offline. She had been preparing for this like a general before war. But I had my own weapons now. I didn't feel hurt anymore. Not the kind that makes you cry. No, this was different. This was controlled. Focused. Precise. I started a new folder on my laptop. Operation Clean Slate. Inside it, screenshots of every lie. Her public Instagram stories. The Airbnb receipt from yoga retreat weekend. A note to my lawyer. A private investigator's number. Courtney had played her game. Now it was time for mine. And if she thought draining me emotionally would leave me too broken to act, well, she'd forgotten one small thing. I built this life. Every brick. Every dollar. Every ounce of trust. And I'm about to burn down what's left of her fantasy castle. 2 days passed. Not a word from Courtney. Not even a fake apology or one of those half-hearted, we should talk texts. She thought I was done, like I'd just disappear quietly and let her live her new dream life with her gym rat boy toy. But she didn't know me anymore. Maybe she never did. I flew back in the middle of the night. No warning. No announcement. I didn't go home. I went to my lawyer's office first thing that morning and dropped a flash drive on his desk with everything she never thought I'd find. Every photo, every message, and every documented lie. Fast-track the divorce, I said, and hit her hard. Then I drove to our house. No, my house. The locks were changed, the cameras reactivated, and a notice from my attorney now sat taped to the front door right next to the eviction. When she pulled up in that borrowed black Charger, I was sitting on the porch with a black coffee and 0F***** S left to give. She stepped out like she was walking a red carpet, sunglasses on, attitude dialed up to full throttle. "What the hell is this?" she snapped, yanking the eviction notice. "Exactly what it says," I said calmly. "You're trespassing now, Courtney." She laughed. "Oh, come on, Jason. Are you seriously trying to play the victim here? You've always been dramatic, but this is next-level pathetic." I stood. My voice didn't raise. I didn't need to yell. I needed her to listen. "I gave you everything. Every ounce of who I was. I trusted you when you said you were at yoga. When you were at Napa. When you said you loved me." Courtney rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. Don't start with the sentimental crap. You were boring. Safe. Predictable. Tyler makes me feel alive." That's when I knew she didn't just cheat. She enjoyed it. She reveled in it. She thought it made her powerful. "You could have left me like a decent human being," I said. "But you had to lie. You had to humiliate me." Courtney leaned in close, lowered her voice like we were partners in some secret. "I was waiting for you to man up and end it first. But you never had the balls." I looked her dead in the eye. "I burned your clothes. I emptied our bank account. And I'm taking full custody of Sophie." Her smirk cracked. "You wouldn't dare. She deserves better than this mess you've become." For the first time, I saw a flicker of panic in her eyes. Real, raw panic. Not because she lost me, but because she finally understood. I wasn't bluffing. I was moving on without her, and worse, I was going to win. She stormed toward the door. "You can't keep me out. I live here too." I held up a court order, fresh from my attorney. "Not anymore." Tyler's car rolled up just as she turned to scream something back at me. He stepped out, flexing like he was ready for a fight. I just waved. "You'll want to read that letter I had delivered to your gym, Tyler. It's from my lawyer. About the harassment complaint. And the footage. Good luck with your career, champ." His face dropped. Courtney lost it. "You petty piece of—" I turned and walked inside, shutting the door behind me. I heard her pounding on the wood, yelling threats, curses, crying and screaming. But I didn't flinch, didn't look back. She wanted war. She got it. And I had only just fired my first shot. When the door shut, the silence hit like a wave. Not peaceful silence, no. This was the kind of silence that makes your chest tight. That heavy kind, where the air doesn't move, and your thoughts echo so loud they feel like screams. I stood in the foyer. Just stood there. Everything looked the same. The picture frames on the wall, Sophie's pink backpack on the hook, her little shoes by the door. But I wasn't the same man who left 3 days ago. And this wasn't my home anymore. Not really. Because every corner of it now had fingerprints of betrayal on it. That red couch? That's where Courtney used to sit on Friday nights, claiming she was too tired to go out. Now I knew she was just texting him under a blanket. The kitchen island? That's where she laughed while I cooked, probably checking Tyler's stories while telling me she loved mine. It all felt like a crime scene. I made my way to the bedroom and sat at the edge of the bed. Her perfume still lingered in the air. That fake vanilla scent she always said made her feel expensive. I stared at the empty pillow next to mine, and something broke loose inside me. Not rage. Not yet. Something worse. Grief. Because that's what betrayal really is, isn't it? It's a death. The death of the life you thought you had. The death of trust. Of intimacy. Of safety. You grieve the smiles, the private jokes, the plans. You grieve the version of her you thought was real. I had spent years loving that woman. Late-night drives just to get her favorite ice cream. Holding her when she cried about losing her dad. Laughing over wine on the porch while dreaming about retiring in Lake Tahoe. I poured every part of me into this marriage. I gave without keeping score. And she spat on all of it. I felt humiliated. I felt discarded. Like I was a tool she outgrew. Useful until she found a newer, shinier model with abs and an ego the size of Texas. But here's the part no one tells you. The pain isn't just about the act. It's about how easily she did it. How effortlessly she lied. How she looked me in the eye, called me babe, and then turned around and let another man touch her like she was single and free. I wanted to scream. Break something. Drive until the tank ran dry. But instead, I reached for my phone. Opened the voice memo app. And I spoke to myself. Because if I didn't say it out loud, I'd drown in it. She cheated. She betrayed me. She tried to erase me. But I'm still standing. I repeated that 3 times, even as my voice cracked. Even as my eyes burned. I wouldn't let this destroy me. Not for Sophie. Not for my pride. And definitely not for Courtney. I got up and grabbed the framed photo from our wedding off the dresser. I stared at her smile, the fake one. The one I used to think was love. Then I opened the window and let the wind take it. No theatrics. Just gone. And in that moment, I realized something. This pain wasn't just a curse. It was a rebirth. Pain strips you. It exposes you. And what's left behind is the real you, raw and undefeated. Courtney didn't just wake up one day and betray me. She made 1,000 little choices. And now, so would I? One choice at a time, to rebuild, to reclaim, to remember who the hell I was before I gave my soul to someone who didn't deserve it. The next morning, I woke up early. The kind of early where the sky still has that purple haze and the streets are dead quiet. I didn't sleep much. My body was tired, but my mind? Wide awake. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, smirking, mocking, walking out that door like I was a piece of furniture she no longer needed. But this morning was different. Today wasn't about her. It was about Sophie. I drove to my parents' house where Sophie had been staying since the blow-up. I didn't want her around the chaos. My mom greeted me at the door with that look only mothers have. The one that says, I know you're broken, but I'm not going to say it. She hugged me tight, didn't ask questions, and said, she's upstairs, still sleeping. I walked up slowly. Every step toward that room reminded me why I had to keep moving forward. There she was, curled up, her stuffed bunny under one arm, hair a mess, drool on her pillow. Beautiful chaos. My little girl. And just like that, every trace of self-pity evaporated. She stirred, eyes opening halfway. Daddy. Hey, Peanut, I whispered. I missed you. She sat up, arms reaching for me. I pulled her into my chest and held her like the world could end any minute. And that's when I made the promise. Not just to her, but to myself. I'll never let her lie to you the way she lied to me. I'll protect you from that. Always. I wasn't just a heartbroken husband anymore. I was a father with purpose. And that gave me power. By noon, I was back home, back on the phone with my lawyer. I demanded full custody. I didn't care how messy it got. I wasn't going to let Sophie grow up watching a woman like Courtney model what love and loyalty are supposed to look like. Hell no. The lawyer warned me. This is going to get ugly. She's vindictive. I know, I said. So am I now. Next, I reached out to a private investigator I'd worked with years ago during a business dispute. The guy was ex-military, discreet, and brutal when it came to details. I wanted everything. Who Tyler was, his background, his finances, his dirty laundry. I wanted to know what Courtney was planning next, because I could feel it in my gut. She wasn't done. She wouldn't just fade away. She'd come back swinging, probably try to twist things, paint herself as the victim, maybe even weaponize Sophie. But this time, I'd be 10 steps ahead. I hit the gym for the first time in weeks that evening. Not because I cared about abs or stress relief, but because I needed to feel something under control again. With every rep, I imagined shedding her lies. Every drop of sweat felt like one less ounce of betrayal dragging me down. I ran into a guy there, Mike, who'd been through something similar. His wife cheated with his boss, said she wanted new energy. He lost everything, rebuilt, and now owned a chain of restaurants. He said something that stuck. Revenge is temporary. Legacy is permanent. That night, I wrote out my goals. Not just legal ones, real ones. Life goals. Things I'd abandoned while playing happy husband to a woman who was halfway out the door. Launch the side business I kept shelving. Take Sophie to Disney this summer, just the two of us. Sell the house, start over somewhere new. Never trust blind. But never let bitterness win, either. Courtney tried to break me, but she lit a fire she couldn't contain. This wasn't just survival now. It was a full-blown rebirth. And the next chapter? It was going to be mine, on my terms. 3 days after I saw Sophie, I got the call I was expecting. Courtney. Block number, of course. She was always careful, wanted deniability even when her whole life was a damn lie. I let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, another call. Then a text. We need to talk. Stop being childish. Childish. Coming from the woman who posted #FreeAtLast with her side piece while our daughter stayed at my parents' house because she couldn't explain the mess she created? That was rich. I didn't answer. I had a better idea. My lawyer called later that day and confirmed she had been officially served with divorce papers and a motion for full custody. Apparently, she went ballistic at the delivery guy, screaming about being ambushed and emotional warfare. Good. Let her feel it. That night, I sat down and finalized something I'd been planning for days. The trap. See, while Courtney had been busy doing her reinvented queen act on social media, she forgot something crucial. She still used the same passwords. I had access to everything. Her cloud backups, her emails, and most importantly, her shared calendar. Turns out, Courtney was planning a weekend getaway with Tyler to some overpriced Airbnb cabin in the mountains. Camelot spa, couples massages, wine tasting. Real fairy tale stuff. She had no idea I knew. I sent her a message the morning of the trip. Hey, I agree. We should talk. Come by tomorrow evening. Just you. 8 p.m. She replied immediately. Thank God. I'll be there. I smiled, because I already knew what she'd be walking into. I spent the day setting the stage. Candles in the living room. Her favorite wine still had an unopened bottle from her birthday. Music low. The lights dim. If betrayal had a scent, I made sure it reeked of seduction and ego. 8:04 p.m. She walked in. Tight black dress. Perfect hair. Same manipulative confidence she always wore like perfume. You look better, she said, closing the door behind her. Miami did you good. I raised a glass. You too. Love the dress. She smirked. Sat down like she still owned the place. Look, Jason, I know things got out of hand, but we've always had a connection, right? Maybe we just lost sight of it. You and me, we can fix this. There it was. The act. Like she hadn't turned our marriage into a circus and invited the entire internet to watch. I leaned in. Calm. Composed. I'm listening. She launched into a monologue about growth, mistakes, the pressure of motherhood, how Tyler was just a symptom of her confusion. Not real. Just a phase. And I know you hate me, she said, eyes glossy with crocodile tears, but I've been thinking about Sophie. She needs us together. That's when I hit play. On the flat screen behind me, a series of photos lit up, her in bed with Tyler, time-stamped from different weekends. Then a video, her laughing, saying, Jason still thinks I'm doing yoga. God, he's so gullible. Her face went pale. You recorded me? No. You recorded you. You synced everything to the cloud and forgot to change the password. She stood up fast. You're a psycho. I stood too. Calm. Taller. Stronger now. You thought you could wreck my life and come back when the thrill wore off? Nah. That's not how this ends. She tried to storm out, but I wasn't finished. Courtney, I said as she reached for the doorknob. Tyler's being investigated for insurance fraud. My lawyer sent the video to the gym's board. He's losing his contract next week. She froze. Welcome to your new chapter. She left without a word. And as the door clicked shut, I smiled for the first time in weeks. Not because I hurt her, but because I reclaimed myself. The morning after Courtney stormed out of my house, I stood by the window, sipping coffee, watching the sun climb over the rooftops. The same sun that rose the day she told me not to wait up. The same sun that had illuminated the ashes of her clothes in the backyard. But today felt different. For the first time, there was no weight on my chest. No ache. No wondering what I could have done differently. She was gone, and I didn't miss her. Not even a little. The fallout came fast. By noon, I got a call from Mike at my gym. He sounded almost guilty. Bro, I just thought you should know. Tyler's off the trainer roster. Management said misconduct, but wouldn't say more. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. I just said, thanks, and hung up. One domino down. By the end of the day, Courtney posted some cryptic, sometimes people break you so you can rebuild yourself quote on Instagram, followed by a selfie where she was clearly trying not to cry. I didn't even flinch. She wanted to play the victim for her little fanbase? Let her. But I had the facts. I had the paper trail. I had everything. And she had nothing but a crumbling lie. Later that night, I had dinner with Sophie. Just us, candles, her favorite spaghetti, and a Disney playlist in the background. She smiled, told me about her day, and asked, why is Mommy living at Grandma's now? I paused, not because I didn't know what to say, but because I didn't want to lie to her like Courtney lied to me. Sometimes, people make mistakes, I said gently. Big ones. And when they do, they need time to fix themselves. But no matter what happens, I'll always be here. Always. She nodded, then asked for more garlic bread. After she went to bed, I sat on the couch with a glass of bourbon and read the finalized divorce paperwork for the 10th time. It was clean. Brutal, maybe, but clean. Full custody pending the hearing, financial control secured, house listed under my name only. I had won, but it didn't feel like a victory. Not in the traditional sense. It felt like freedom. Not from her, but from the illusion I had been living in. The story I kept telling myself about loyalty, about sacrifice, about forever being something we could build on a foundation of denial. She was never going to be the woman I thought she was. She never was that woman. She was just better at pretending than most. I used to think love was about fixing broken things, holding on, working through it. But now I knew the truth. Sometimes, love is knowing when to burn the bridge and walk away with your damn dignity intact. A week later, the final blow came. Courtney's lawyer reached out with a settlement suggestion. She wanted partial custody, alimony, and a share of the house sale. I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my coffee. I declined. Officially. Legally. Swiftly. And when she called me, voice shaky, fake sweet, I said only one thing. You chose your freedom, Courtney. You don't get to be shocked when I let go of the rope. Click. I blocked her number. No goodbyes. No drama. Just peace. And God, that peace felt better than any revenge ever could. I wasn't a broken man anymore. I wasn't the betrayed husband. I was just Jason, a father, a fighter, and a man who walked through fire and came out clean. If you're reading this, or hearing it, and you've been where I was, let me say this first. You are not crazy. You are not weak. And you are damn sure not the villain in her twisted version of events. What happened to me wasn't just infidelity. It was betrayal on a level I didn't know I could survive. And the hardest part? It wasn't the lies, or even the image of her in someone else's arms. It was the realization that the person I loved never existed in the way I believed. That'll break a man, but only if he lets it. I didn't. Not because I'm some kind of superhero. Hell no. I cried. I punched a wall. I stared into the mirror wondering if I was enough. But then I stopped asking why she did it, and started asking why I tolerated it for so long. And that's where the shift happened. I used to think being a good man meant being patient, forgiving, steady. And yes, Those things matter, but not at the cost of your own soul. You cannot love someone out of being a liar. You cannot protect a woman who's sharpening knives behind your back. And you absolutely cannot build a future with someone who's already rewriting her past to justify her betrayal. The signs were there. Looking back, they were everywhere. The late-night gym sessions. The extra makeup when she was just going to dinner with the girls. The cold distance. The fake affection. The way she always flipped things on me when I questioned anything. How she said, "You're paranoid," when I was simply paying attention. That's what they do, people like Courtney. They gaslight. They manipulate. They play the long game and convince you that you are the problem. But the truth? The truth is simple. She cheated because she wanted to. Because loyalty was a costume she wore, not a value she lived. And once I accepted that, I stopped bleeding. I started healing. Now I wake up every morning knowing I've got my daughter sleeping soundly in the next room. I cook breakfast in a kitchen that no longer feels haunted. I've got plans. Purpose. I'm building something again, something real this time. Do I still feel pain? Sure. Some nights it creeps in like fog. But I let it sit beside me. I don't fight it. I let it remind me of what I survived. Because I'm not ashamed anymore. Courtney didn't break me. She revealed me. She stripped away the illusion, and underneath it all was a man who refuses to be anyone's fool ever again. So, if you're still with a woman who lies to your face and calls it complicated, listen to me carefully. Leave. Don't wait for the final betrayal. Don't keep hoping she'll change. She won't. She'll just get better at hiding it. Walk away with your dignity before she takes that too. You owe yourself peace. You owe your future truth. And you owe your heart the chance to beat in a place where love isn't a weapon. I walked through hell, and now I'm standing in the sun. My name is Jason, and this was the story of how I lost everything I thought I needed, only to find the man I was always meant to be.